In episode 54, we showed how to take the old deprecated Ember Select boxes, the views, and how to transform them into new style, both in vanilla Ember and with the EmberX Select add-on. In episode 55, we'll be showing how to take that new style and doing some cool stuff with it that would be very difficult to do in the old style. So we've got our tag types here. It's an array that's stored on the component. And then we have our template where we have our XSelect, and in there we loop through all the tag types and give each one an X option. But what if we want to add an option that's not in one of the tag types? This is possible if we get our tag types from somewhere other than the component, and it's not easy to create that ourselves. Well, in this new setup, we can just create an X option. We can give it a value, and then give it a display property in the middle. Then we'll see that it's been added. This is the display, and if we select this, then our tag type will be Ninja. We can use a similar technique to create a prompt. This will show when the value is null. So we can see that if we set one to the prompt, then it will turn the value null. And if we create a new one, it'll automatically have the null value. So it'll show the user the prompt, just like we want. So far we can pull from a list, we can create our own custom options, and we can have a prompt. We can also pull from a separate list. So we can pull from two different lists. Let's say we have a list on model, which is of other awesome things. Now we can use a second each loop, and then they show up in the list. It should be noted that with this particular technique of setting it on the model, that if you hit new, then it won't show up because there's not yet a model associated with it. So it might be best to store it somewhere else. But the rest of the technique still stands. So even with that little glitch, we can still do things that in the old style would have been much more complicated. We would have had to select and combine stuff in the model or in the component, but now we can do it in the template. Let's take it one step farther. We want to display stuff selectively depending on what other options on the model are. To do that, we're going to have to take this out of EmberX Select and back into plain vanilla Ember, because what we're about to do causes a few errors in EmberX Select, but not in vanilla Ember. First, we'll add some checkboxes to the form. Here we're checking the Boolean whether ninjas exist in this world, and then a Boolean of whether we can see ninjas or not. Then, here's the fun part, we'll add an if statement around the ninja option. And that option will only show up if ninjas exist in this world. If they can see ninjas, then it'll show up as a ninja. Otherwise, it'll show up as just a normal person. Let's see this in action. So there's nothing here. We check ninjas exist, and it shows the normal person. We check that we can see ninjas, and we see it as a ninja. So we can change the content of the tag types based on other variables. Now this example is a little bit silly, but in a real-life example, we could see something where, let's say, an admin gets a different set of options than someone else. Or, depending on how many actions the user has taken, it'll show a different set of listings. So in this episode, we showed how to make your select boxes awesome. We added extra options, we added a prompt, we created lists from multiple sources, and we showed a way to create different options depending on how your variables are in other parts of the application. I know you'll find a way to make this very useful in your app, and I'll see you next time.